Okay, real quick, I think this is one of my most fire melodies yet, and the year hasn't even started. I mean, sure, it's already April, but still, you feel me. Beautiful people, what is up and how are you doing? This is your favorite struggling R&B producer, Valentine D Plug, and I am back with another video. I am back with another R&B cook-up all the way from scratch, and I'm happy to see y'all back with me again. I ain't got a strategy, I just got a fire sample made from scratch ready to go. I feel like flipping that into an R&B drill beat. That's exactly what we are going to do. So y'all sit tight, listen to the preview, let's get it poppin'. Alright, boom, let's get this show on the road. Can I break down the sample real quick? Can I? Thank you. Can I kick it? Yes, I can. Thank you. Here's the sample. Let me just play you what it sounds like. Look, this is bona fide fire. I'm not even going to argue with y'all. Y'all can argue with your mom on the wall. I ain't even going to argue. This is bona fide fire. Let me just break down what the sample is made of. So the sample, building it started off relatively simple with this relatively simple chord progression. What we got here is an E minor 7 chord with a double third. Transitions into a D dominant 7 chord. We've got an inverted A minor 7 chord. And we've got an inverted B dominant 7 chord. That's basically the chord progression. After that, I took out a pattern in Omnisphere because I had this piano melody playing basically broken chords to go along with the beat. These broken chords sound like this. Now, since I've got, a good guitar VST at my disposal and an actual guitar at my disposal, I wasn't planning on settling for this. So I immediately took out the trusty electric guitar and I started recording this broken chords as well in the same key. Alright, so let's talk about the guitar part, right? I always thought that you needed to reach a certain level of mastery in order to add guitar to your samples. Turns out all you really need is to know basic chord shapes, major, minor, dominant, diminished, and maybe augmented, because the chord progression was actually relatively simple and it's also super simple to play on guitar if you know your shapes. So like I said, E minor 7 transitions into a D dominant 7th chord, goes into an A minor 7th, goes into a B dominant 7th, inverted. It honestly isn't that hard, and you gotta imagine I only started seriously playing the guitar only about a month or 6 ago. That's when I really started practicing my shapes. So don't feel bottlenecked, just put in the work. Put in the work, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to make fire guitar samples. You don't need much, just basic chord shapes, alright? So there you have it. I had that broken chord pattern, but I also decided to play a pattern where I'm basically doing some guitar strumming like this. Then I topped it off by going into Analog Lab, taking out a pad, which is from the Loophole kit. It's called the Rising R&B pad, and that sounds like this. You know, what I really like about that pad is that swell. It's got that attack going on. It really reaches a climax. It's amazing. Now, you might be wondering why some of them are recorded. That's because I took out the original patterns from the piano roll. I went into Edison. I tracked them out and I downsampled them, you know, just to give it a little bit more of a decayed effect. So that's essentially how I got my sample. Alright, so I pitched up everything just a little bit, and I think that right now I am super comfortable with where it's at. So how about we go and lay down some drums, eh? I'm going to take out the paint tool. I'm going to listen very closely to the shaker pattern that I got, and I'm just going to paint some hi-hats here and there. So now I'm going to perform a neat little trick that I really didn't know about. You know, it shows how little I really know about FL. So apparently, if you just right click this pattern highlight button, you can choose to split them by channel. So what that means is I can highlight all of this and have it essentially tracked out to different patterns, so I won't have to copy paste them. I never knew. Why didn't anybody tell me about this? Honestly, this is dope. And now they just appear here. So that's cool. That makes arranging them a lot easier and a lot more convenient. So that's what I'm gonna do. So me and a good buddy of mine, we make music together. We always have a thing where when we're busy, we decide to step back and we ask ourselves, what's the vibe? What kind of vibe we're working with? Because we're both very visual in that sense. So I'm thinking stroll at the boulevard. I'm thinking sunset. I'm thinking 22 degrees. I'm thinking maybe on a vacation. I'm thinking, you know, in terms of what I'm wearing. I'm thinking silk shirt, you know, unbuttoned, get a little bit of blinged up, you feel me? Reflecting on my relationship, reflecting on my breakup, longing for that one girl, trying to get it popping, you feel me? And these vibes are important to me because they determine what else I'm going to be adding to the beat. And I think that I've got a very great general guideline of what I want this beat to be. So now I'm just going to be sweating the details. So one very important detail that I want to start paying attention to is the processing of the elements of my sample. And I just want to start off with a reverb and delay. One thing I've noticed, YouTube producers really love all the Valhalla DSP things, which is genuine because they're super fucking legit. But me, I like to rock with the things that I got from Native Instruments because they do the trick for me. Also, I want to emphasize, please, folks, please start using sends instead of putting your reverb on inserts because that allows you to customize them a lot better. For example, I know that I do not want my reverb to enhance the low frequency, so I'm going to make a big cut to make sure that whatever gets sidechained to my reverb channel only has the high frequencies get the reverb. That sentence didn't, you know, you get my point. You get my point. And the same actually goes for my delay. And I can do other effects like, you know, add chorus, phaser, whatever. Sends allows you a lot more customization. So the first thing I'm doing is I am sending my reverb and my delay to this channel. Now, as you can see here in the top left, I am fading them into 100%. And that is because I have turned the mix knobs all the way to 100%. So all I'm getting is the wet signal, so I don't have to worry about the dry signal getting enhanced too. So I did mess around with the parameters a little bit. Let's just make sure that I got an EQ on my delay as well. And I'm going to add a little bit of chorus as well. Give it a little bit of funkiness to it. That makes it to 100% as well. Let's see what it sounds. Hey, I like it. I like it. Cool. So let's go and process the other things a little bit in the same way, but also different. My piano already has a little bit of processing. I'm using my UAD 1176 to add some heavy compression. Also adding RC20, give it a little bit of a decayed effect. I don't change a lot of the parameters. Give it a little bit of noise, distort it a little bit, give it some thickness, some space, and some magnetic, of course, some tape, and a little bit of EQ cuts, you know. My guitar already has been processed. I'm using a pretty hefty chain for my guitar because I don't have the best guitar. I have a pretty budget guitar, so there's quite some work to do before I really get the sound I want. But this chain I right here, this is really what works for me. Nylon guitar is kind of dry actually. I think I might just send it. I'm going to send it to that reverb bus, give it a little bit of wetness. Same goes for that Omnisphere guitar. And I am going to add some big EQ cuts. So when I get back, all of that will be said and done. Now, a little technique that you are going to see me use a lot more often is the use of a drum bus, and that is simply because even though a lot of the samples that we're working with are already processed, I just like to add a little bit more. I just like to squash them just a little bit more, and I do that by using a drum bus because I don't want my drum patterns to sound all disjointed, you know, with a kick that's all the way over there and a snare that's way too low. I like to bring them together, and an easy way to do that is just send them to a drum bus, but it also makes them sound a lot more tighter and a lot more crunchier. You can use practically whatever compressor you want on your drum bus, but I like to use my 1176 emulations because they are simply tried and true. You know, a lot of their industry standard compressors, which are also used a lot for bus compression, so that's why. So I'm just going to be dialing in some settings right here. Let me just put you on mute. And the trick is actually to use a pretty high ratio actually. Well, I mean 1176s usually come with very high ratios. You got 4:1, 8:1. I think 8:1 actually does the trick too. Hold on. Boom, love it. All right, let's go lay down that 808. But so I went into Sublab. I took out the 808 smoke, which is from Richie South's kit. I did a little bit of tweaking here and there. Then I hit the sample button because Sublab allows you to record your 808 and use it as a sample in the piano roll. So I did that. This is the 808 pattern that I have. Super simple, super basic, but I promise you, we are gonna add some slide. Alright, good folks, I hope y'all enjoyed this cook-up because I sure as hell did, and I really like the melodic R&B drill beat that we flipped. I'm gonna leave it at this. The rest of that, you know, the whole arrangement process, I'm gonna be doing in my own time. Feel free to listen to the preview if you're wondering what it ended up sounding like, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Y'all be easy now. Peace.